Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I would kill two birds with one stone. I'm still playing around with this new microphone that I have. Not the one that I use for the live, but one that I picked up separate from that. But playing off of the last podcast episode and also the live, we had talked about Terapeak and all those things. If you did watch that podcast episode, you probably got a little bit of a sense of it because we did talk about how to access it. But then I also mentioned the live stream and some folks did give feedback that they weren't aware of it, including Yannick and other folks mentioned that they hadn't used it before or weren't as familiar with it. So what I figured I'd do is I'd kill two birds with one stone, test the microphone, and also do a quick screen share here with you. I'll take you into it, show you a handful of quick things. This is far and away not an exhaustive thing, but at least it'll give you a quick rundown on the couple of things that you can do at a high level if you want to look up some comps. So to start off with here, I'm just starting off on my eBay.com homepage. Obviously, it's showing a lot of Not So Fella, wrestling, a lot of stuff that I search for, a lot of my safe searches, and then also looks like I've sold a couple of items, so some of the consolidation efforts are working. But once I start off in this main page, this is where I'm going to begin, and I'll take you click by click in order how to get into what was formerly known as Terapeak and now what I kind of use for comps. One quick caveat I'll give you here is that you have to be able to be set up in order to do selling. There isn't really a lot to it. Mind you, I did it a long time ago, so I'm not going to be able to give you any kind of a tutorial on how to set it up, but it really shouldn't be very difficult because eBay does want you selling stuff. They enjoy collecting those fees from you. And it is free at this point. So if you set up your account so that you have the capability of selling, then you should be all good to go once you log in. So ebay.com, you're logged in. Basically, you see a page like this showing maybe other stuff that you were looking into. All you really need to do is go to the top right where it says My eBay. You put your mouse over and you scroll down to where it says Selling. That's the one you need to click on. So that's click number 1. You finish that and that brings you onto this page. So you're going to be able to see unread messages, waiting shipment, sales the last little while, everything else, all the information you need in what's known as the seller hub. Once you click on that though, then you'll be looking at where it says research. That's the one we were talking about. So that right there is click number 2. So 2 clicks and I'm in. This search bar is what you're looking for. This is what used to be called Terapeak. Now it's called product research. You get in here and this is where you can actually type in your different items and be able to look up different comps for different things. So what I'll do is I'll actually give you an example. One thing that you need to know, and I mentioned it briefly, but since I'm doing the video here, I'll show you. On the listing site on the right here, it shows ebay.com currently by default, but you can actually see a bunch of international pages that you can use. What I would recommend to you is generally ebay.com is pretty good if I just want to do a quick search, but you can also go to all sites and that way it searches all of them simultaneously. So what happens is, so for example, I'll pick a really simple one. So let's go 2018, let's do Prism Gold and let's do Lamar Jackson. There's one that you could have looked up back in 2018, a good example. So right now it's very basic. I kept the search basic. I have Gold Prism in there. I have Lamar Jackson and I have the year. I'm not adding any additional detail. I'm trying to keep my search very broad, but I've also in the dropdown got the last 3 years. You can make it a shorter time period if you want, but last 3 years is pretty good because it gives you more information. Now, one thing that I do want to make a note of here for you is that if you make it too broad, then you're going to get a lot of results. So then you're going to have to sift through some junk because it's going to be looking at what people put into their titles. And some people put the wrong information in titles. That's why you end up with a lot of junk sometimes when you're searching on eBay. It's the same issue here, but let's start off with it. We're going to click on research and see what shows up. Now here you can see there's a bunch more options. One important thing here, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to do a full tutorial on this, but I wanted to give you a little bit to work on if you've never been here before. You can actually pick specific categories. You can do condition filters, different types of formats. You can do auction, buy it now, best offers, fixed price. All really good filters because it actually lets you separate this out. In this case, I just want to see everything, but you can actually filter it out and really narrow it down to specific types of sales you're looking for because it gives you more information. This is meant to be a seller's researching tool, but you can use it for your comps when you're trying to buy as well because that gives you some information to be able to tell you what stuff is sold for. Now, an important caveat as well is that when I'm doing my search here, instead of just starting off at the top search bar here and then clicking on completed items, whatever item is in here should have been paid for. Basically, that's the distinction that eBay makes because if it shows up here in the sold, these are things that were actually paid for, and also it shows the actual price of a best offer. So you make a best offer and it started off at $1,000 and it actually sold at $600, the number you're going to see here is $600. That's what you care about as a buyer because you want to know the real number, not what it started off as. So here you can see it shows from March 23rd, 2022 to March 22nd when I'm recording this. So scrolling down, you can see $805 is the average sold price. That's all nice and good, but it's not the information we're looking for. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go under date last sold, and I'm going to click on it so that I can get the more recent stuff. So here it is. And now you can see the last sale here is March 17th. So if I take a look here, I can actually click on the image too. So you can see there, 2018 Panini Select Lamar Jackson Gold Prism. So there is the select one in a PSA 9, and you can see that sold for $2,500. Now remember, I kept it broad on purpose. If I really want to narrow it down and make it a little more clear, then I'm going to have to make some adjustments to it. So I'll actually do one here. Again, just one example here just to give you a little bit of an idea what you can do. So here I started off with 2018 Prism Gold Lamar Jackson, but let's say I don't want select. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the minus sign and I'm going to remove the word select. So I'm going to take select out of any of the titles. I'm going to hit research again and it's going to make an adjustment because now it's going to remove the ones that have select. I'm going to click on this. You can see here, this stayed the same as before, but you notice that one from select that was there, the first one previously, is now no longer there. But now if I click on this, I can see it is Prism, but it's a rookie introduction. Again, you could get even more granular into this. You could go through it. You're going to see some Mark Andrews because again, it depends on what people put into it. Here's the penmanship auto, which is one of the inserts, but it is the gold version of it. So that gives you some information and you can basically scroll down and look through it. You're also going to see other things like Mosaic, which has a gold version of it. So it's one of those things you got to be careful of. Like you can see in this example right here. This says Prism investment card, gold refractor. They added a bunch of words. It is a golden type card, but obviously it's not what we're looking for. So you've got the same limitations that you have when you do a regular eBay search, that people put in things that have nothing to do with it. So you kind of have to search through, sift through it a little bit in order to really find out what you're looking for. And through the course of it, you will generally locate it. But you can remove additional things. So when you're looking through it, it allows you to remove some of these things because if you don't want Mosaic in there, you can remove that. Okay, now I'm going to do an example here, but in this case, I'm going to use a minus sign again. And this time around, I'm going to add the second phrase so that I can remove a few more things. And again, we're doing all sites. We're not just doing ebay.com. If you did ebay.com, you'd get different results as well. So now again, I click on it and now that other one is gone. So you can keep playing around with this, make that string a lot longer if you really want to in order to narrow it down. The point is, eventually, as you scroll down and you make these adjustments, you're going to be able to find what you're looking for. Because here you've got an example, 2018, it is Prism, but obviously it's one of the inserts and it's this mojo kind of pattern as opposed to just the base version of it. So you can kind of play around with it and really narrow it down to be able to find it. Here again, it is gold, it is 2018, but this is the jersey version, Premier Jerseys. Well, there you go. That's an interesting data point, but it's not what you're looking for. So again, you can just keep playing around with it until eventually you figure it out. You can also add some additional details because as you can see, it is card number 212. So if I go back up here to the top, this is the last one I'll do here, just in this example. If I add number 212, it'll narrow it down one more time. And in this case, we make it a little bit tighter. Doesn't mean we don't still have some of these other items, but it means it does narrow it down for us a little bit and give us the information because what we're looking for is basically one of these. This is the gold vinyl, but it's the same general idea. We're a lot closer to what we were looking for. You're going to have to play around with it to refine it and find exactly what you want. But you can see in this case, in 2024, a gold vinyl out of 5 and a PSA 9, $16,500 fixed price. So it gives you some information. That's back on October 25th, 2024. So this in a nutshell is basically how you use what was previously called Terapeak. Again, you can really narrow it down. You can be a lot more specific. You can search different kinds of things. This is the kind of thing that will help you be able to find some of those comps. New or old, modern or vintage, doesn't matter. You can still punch in the same type of information. Now on the app, I won't be able to show you a screen grab because I haven't set it up so that I can do that. But just long story short, if you go into the app, the eBay app, into it itself, it's the same idea. Again, you have to go into selling. So if you go to My eBay, same as you did on here for the desktop version, and then go to selling, they've got a selling option as well as a shortcut. You have to go into that. Now it's a little bit trickier because you have to scroll down. If you scroll down, you will see, I'll actually take a screenshot from my phone and I'll show you what the icon looks like. But if you scroll down to it, there is a research button. And if you click on the research button, it allows you to have a search bar, very similar to what you're looking at on the screen here. That is how you will access it via the app. So if you're at a card show or something, you can use that as well. So that's it. I just thought this would be helpful to have as a video here to give you some of that information. I can direct you to it if you have any additional curiosities about it. Really simple, really basic, high level. I definitely could have gone a lot more into the weeds on this, but the point is I just wanted to be able to show you how to access it, how to get into it, and how to do a couple of the basic features and functions that are included in it. And then you can play around with it yourself and really get more out of it if you really want to. There is a lot here if you really want to search into it further. But for now, I think this will give you at least a starting point. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you appreciated it, hopefully you hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. More videos coming up on the channel. Live streams on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The longest running episodic, whatever it is, where we talk about random nonsense. But sometimes the conversation will remind me that, hey, maybe I should make a video based on this. So hopefully this was helpful in some way. With that said, that's it for me for now. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much, and we'll catch you in the next one.